Today I'll be sharing about how I use AI to write really long and deep content, right? The problem I face is that, there's often times that I want to write about cutting edge topic, which are already not covered by existing content online, right? The thing about writing new things that, that doesn't exist on the internet right now, and especially so that the LM has not been trained on, is with AI is challenging, right? I cannot just get AI to just spit it out for me. And the other part of it is that I'm not a natural writer, and it takes very long for me to write any sort of content at all. Because I tend to nitpick, and I actually also have an issue with this repetitive strain injury on my fingers. So it literally hurts me to write more, um, if I were just to write it without AI assistant, right? And even though I have been writing on my own personal blog at geek.sg at over 10 years, right? And the thing with using the typical AI platform like say ChatGPT Pro or even Perplexity is that it doesn't quite give what I want, right? They tend to generate this AI slop or ChatGPT slop that is often vague and vapid. Um, and on top of that, I actually do not have much control over the flow of the content, on which are the parts that I want to dive deep in, which are the things that I want to skim through, and how I would like the structure to flow. Would it be using things like the hero journey and so on, right? And it at times it also try to do too much for me, where when I give it a section to fill, it tries to fill in too much with generic slop and advices and filler content that actually doesn't really add value to my readers at all, right? They could have read another AI slop. Why would they want to read my content if I'm really just giving them any generic advices out there? And something that I noticed is that AI also tend to fail at roughly around the 1200 to 1800 word length, right? It just could not produce the quality, kind of like quality content beyond that length for me. So I needed to fix that. Also chatting with other founders, I've also faced, they have also talked about, issues with proprietary, uh, for instance, they have research engineers or data engineers that work on certain kind of data, or they have unique insights or unique code snippets, right, where they want to show the world. But the key issues is that talents in this area usually are not writers, right? And they are sometimes data scientists, they are sometimes engineers or researchers, and they might not be so great at writing or even hate the work, right? So don't even get them to start, right? So here's how I do it, right? The how I write content, deep content like this one, is actually to combine a video, right, with a content plan that I have in bullet point, and I can just use this to transform into content that is like over 2,000 over words, right? In fact, this entire blog post, um, that I'm going to post, right, is actually written using this exact approach, right? Along with two other blog posts that I've published on this website talking about how we approach content with AI. And we use the same exact process. In fact, I'm going to post this Loom video and the transcript below the blog article so that you can actually see how it get transformed, right? In fact, if you are watching the video, you would actually see me, talking to the camera, and on the side of my screen, there's actually my content plan note, which is something that I do to pre-plan how I like the video as well as the blog to look like, down, right? So I'm showing you the raw notes so that you can see like what, how I actually reference to it as I speak to the video. right, and actually supplement it with additional information. So it's not really, it's something that guides my video as well as the content, right, and also help me to, just verbalize everything, and not rely on typing everything out in note form, right? So the intuition behind the solution is actually to allow the AI to fill in the blanks uh, amongst the content plan, and while actually allowing me to steer it very, very tightly, right? I like to use this analogy about traction when driving or piloting different kind of like instruments, right? With a boat, when you turn the steering wheel, right, you get immediate feedback that your car is actually turning, right? With a boat on water, the feedback comes slower and softer, and with the planes, the feedback is even further delayed and even further softened, right? And what I want to do with AI is to pull it back towards like the traction that I get with a car or boat, where I can control the flow of the content very, very, very tightly, while allowing the AI to kind of like fill in the blanks and go with the flow. So more like a traction with a boat, right? Most of the time when using AI, you are not getting a lot of traction on top of, and control on how you want to steer it. So you tend to lose it with similar to like plane and all of that. So the goal is actually to pull it back and have more traction over the content. Now, and in addition to that, I want to be able to supplement my content with a lot of things like, for instance, code examples, images, links, so on and so forth, right? So those are really what that signal. Those are the things that signal quality content to users, and eventually also search engines, because they can see that it has the capability of referencing various different things, and people are actually clicking through the links to read those things as well. Now, so what I do is that I started to look into existing process with Wiz content generation framework. So I already have something like that, and the framework roughly looks like this, right? There's actually a piece of audience research that it does so automatically with AI agent, and what it returns is actually how audience speak, what are the languages they use, what are the pain points they face, so on and so forth. And it also do a content research where it looks at what kind of content that is out there that is surrounding the topic. So in this case, in terms of like deep research or producing content that are at the edge of information, that's not too useful, because you would have information that is at the edge but not really pushing further than that, right? So but it is still great as supplementary materials, right? So we would still like some of that down, right? The next thing is also having a content plan. So that's the one that you will see at the end of the blog post, or if you're watching the video, it's on the right side of my screen right now, right? And there is also a long form content writer in that process that's using Claude 3.5 Sonnet, right? And it does that by writing the article in a piecemeal manner, right? Chunk by chunk, until it is written to completion. And finally, after that, there's this description generator that kind of like gives me like a suggestion on what to use as a description, right? So the intuition behind the solution is that AI is actually capable of ingesting a huge amount of context, right? So with some of the more advanced ones, with for instance like Claude 3.7 Sonnet, right? It actually has a huge context window. So the question there is that can it solve the problem of the needle in the haystack problem, where it's fully capable of searching for solutions within the context itself, because sometimes even though you give it a very huge context, it still struggle with like linking to the right things within the context window itself. So the structure that I would like to use is actually to use a video transcript. So what I do is that I start off by filming things in Loom, right? So this is an example over here. This is one of the articles that I've written that talks about how we use Reddit to find blue ocean content strategy, right? So we started off with me filming how I actually narrate through the entire thing. You can actually look at the video there. And what I do is that I go over to Loom, hit the transcript, and actually copy everything out. That would actually give me the material that I need to feed into the AI to actually supplement the things within the gap, right? The next thing is the content plan. So the content plan is the one that actually steers how the content is actually being written. So I use my Obsidian notebook to actually write it in bullet point, and any extra links that needs to be referenced, also what I use in the content plan. So you can see here and here we actually have links here. And on top of that, I have a specific writing style that I wanted to follow that generally builds a little bit more trust and empathy with my users, and that's something that I insert into almost all of my articles here. Now, the nice thing about producing content this way is that I would definitely have the long form blog post, right? And I would actually have the video that I can also publish onto YouTube for those readers who would actually like to consume content in a different manner, right? Rather than just reading itself. So the main question when I embarked on this task was that there's a few, right? So the first thing is that I was using Claude 3.5 Sonnet. Is it capable of writing long form content using just the materials given? And my concern was that can it maintain the same level of quality over the entire length, right? Because we are talking about 2,000-3,000 words kind of content, right? And since I've not tried 3.5 Sonnet before, is it also better for me to use it for long form content? And seriously, how steerable would the content flow be, given that I can give it like this content plan, right? And finally, what I needed to do is that I needed the materials, the output post to be almost 90% plus complete, so that I only need to do minimum work to fill in the blanks, right? So I know for a fact that images is something that I'll have to manually do it, or I add it into the content plan, right? So those are the things that I would like to keep outside of it first, right? So how much edit do I need for it to be publishable? And finally, with transcriptions, especially with Loom, there tends to be a lot of transcription error. For instance, like it's tend to spell wisp wrong, right? W-I-S-P, and it'll spell it into something else. Would those transcription error be fixed, right? And turns out the answer to the questions here is quite simple. 3.5 Sonnet is capable of writing long form content. The problem is that it actually struggled to maintain the quality over a very long piece of content. So at around 1006, 1008, actually even past 1002 words, it's already struggling to maintain the quality. It starts to go into bullet points and try to skim over things, trying to end the article, right? 3.7 Sonnet, however, actually does it better and actually give me a more solid content when I give it the full transcript, right? I would actually write another article doing a full comparison between 3.5 Sonnet and 3.7 Sonnet so that you can actually do it. And in terms of like the steerability of the content flow, it's actually pretty good, right? I'm actually pretty happy that I was able to just think about how the content flow is like on my notepad and adjust it as necessary, and then film the video, and then after that producing it. So I really like this flow because it allows me to control how content flows on my blog as well as on my video, right? And transcription errors, that's something that it's still a little bit finicky. Sometimes it's fixed, sometimes it's not, but it's not a big problem for me. I'm just gonna leave it as it is. So I'm going to talk about like how exactly we do it, and also give you code snippet that you can use just in case you want to do this for yourself, right? So the text that we use is LangChain, the JavaScript version of it. So LangChain, LangChain JS, LangChain JS, right? And we use Claude 3.5, 3.7 Sonnet, and we use it via the AWS Bedrock. simply because like we were hosting some of our infrastructure there already, so we just like aggregate the billing in that side. The next thing is we also actually use Langsmith for observability, so just so that we can see some of the errors if it happens. And turns out while developing this, there were some errors, one with structured content. Another one is that 3.7 actually fails intermittently, giving us a null output. So that's one of the issues with 3.7 Sonnet that we haven't quite yet resolved. So we actually try to limit the usage of 3.7 Sonnet because it's not been the most reliable for us just yet, right? So we actually do not use it for the bulk of our content productions, only for content pieces that are deep whitelist. Okay, so coming back to the tech stacks, right? So those are the things that we use. And in terms of code, you would actually see like a full code snippet below that I'll show you, right? And then we would, what's the secret sauce there is actually this thing called LangChain 2, right? So I'm actually going into my code snippet to see if I could show you. There we go. So, so this is the code that I have taken out from my code base, right? And let me just put this aside. So there is a few things. So first of all, we are using tool to actually, we define a LangChain tool to allow us to call it. So you can see it over here. There's this schema that sorry, not a tool, structured data output, right? So there's a tool here. There's this structured data structure here that specifies the content to append and another boolean to mark the end of the article, right? And what we do is that we actually use the LangChain format to actually write this out, and we have an AI message that says that, oh, you are a technical content writer. Your job is to write an in-depth and insightful article on the content provided. You may be given a transcript of conversations or video and content plan and so on and so forth, and then you output it in certain format, right? And then you add a prompt to get started. Okay, so and what we do is that we would actually, so the human prompt, the human message would start off with a prompt that tells them, I want to write an article titled something, and then the transcript will attach it, and then the content plan will attach it with a target length at the end. So this manner, it would actually start off the entire chain by sending an AI message and then a human message to get the first AI message generated from here. And that's how we do it. And we tend to write this 500 words at a time. So for a 2,000 word article, it would generally write this like in 4 different parts. Yeah, it's great. So inside you would also see this style guide here. So I'm actually not providing my style guide because that's what we use internally, but that's what you can fill it up if you're using a code snippet to insert your own style guide, right? And that would actually allow you to write very deep content. So if you take a look at the function called write content with LLM, right, that's where you would see it going through a loop, right, where if it so it would try to add the article onto the chain, onto the list of messages, right, and then append it, and then keep repeating this, interleaving like the human message as well as, in this case, the AI message, what the result is, as well as the to message telling it that it has successfully appended the results to the article. So with this, right, we'll end up with this article inside this content, which will return, right? This will actually allow us to have a very, very, very long content, right, by calling the AI multiple times over. Okay, so you can actually see the code snippets on how exactly we are doing it. So and that's it, right? So I'll be attaching the code snippets at the end of the content here, as well as the raw input, transcript, and content plan, so they can see how it actually looks like. Finally, right, so these are the things that we do when we research over here. So one of the things that concern us is how we can, instead of like a human first and AI augmented, we are flipping the script around for it to be, you know, AI first and human augmented to produce actually content at planetary scale, right? So if you're interested in how to turn your own organization's data or research or your own expertise, transforming content for your engineers to be published, right? Let us know if we want if you need some help, and of course feel free to use like the code snippets from here or drop off us questions so that we can help you with that process, right? So you can see we are roughly at around the 20 minutes mark. So in terms of content, this is probably around a 2,200 word content for us, like just based on experience for us, right? So I'm going to run through the entire process after this video, and you would actually see the output in the blog post format. And I would actually upload this Loom video onto YouTube as well, so that you can compare the results from the process. All right, I'll see you.